Hey everyone, welcome back. Icon here. Thanks for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, we are hopping on board with Formal as he and the Chicago Huntsmen go to battle against the Florida Mutineers, and boy, do we have a surprise for you. So, Formal goes absolutely insane. I can't wait to watch this. He ended up dropping 45 on this one, so I'm really pumped to go ahead and break this down. You can see he's already on a 3 or 4 spree. He's just holding down this right-hand side of the map. He's allowing his teammates to push up mid-map, and eventually they're going to go ahead and they're going to try to flip spawns for P2 on this first set of rotations here. So, right in between, or right above Formal's head in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you see a mini-map from time to time. I will draw on top of that, and just to kind of set the record here, what we're looking at is Formal is spawning by P5, and he's going outside by Coil. And what they're essentially trying to do is just flip this so that they can get these back spawns so that they can be in position for P2. So this is kind of like a little bit of a tug of war, right? On this, it's really hard to just get 5 down right in the middle of the map and then just be able to push through and flip spawns. This takes a lot longer than that. But you can see that they're making progress, right? The very first set of spawns there, they were able to push up like by Coil over there. And then the second set, they were able to push up mid-map. And now that they're back a little bit further, they've made their way all the way across to the opposite side of the map. And that's just kind of the way that this map goes, right? It's just a little bit of a tug of war here. You keep pushing, and then all of a sudden, Envoy gets a 2-piece, Seth gets a 2-piece, Formal gets 1, they get slayed out. And now they're in position with 30 seconds left to get the remaining time here on P2. As this is about to rotate to P3, I do want to point out the route that a lot of people have been taking. So if you're new to my channel, you probably haven't seen this too much, but as we're about to rotate from P2 over to P3, obviously the most direct route is right through B-Dom over to P3, right? Well, a lot of teams have avoided doing that recently because the more important thing is to set up spawns for P5. So if you go ahead and you leave P2 and you come over towards Woods, this is the route that you want to take, because as you approach Woods, you can go ahead, you can push behind Warehouse, you can get this P5 spawn, and once you have this spawn, not only are you set up for P3, P4 you could probably get in and contest. Even if you go like -5 on P4, it's not that big of a deal. But the end goal here is to get completely set up and max out those 60 seconds as it rotates back to P5. So as we're sitting here on P3, you see that there's like 30 seconds left in the current hill. I just want to point out what the strategy should be on P3, because I feel like this is one that's overlooked a little bit. Whether you're spawning in Warehouse, which is where Chicago is spawning currently, or if you're spawning over towards Minecart, the goal is to push up a little bit farther than the Hardpoint and get kills in that range. So if you are Florida, you want to get pushed up and you want to get kills in this range, because essentially what that does is that keeps the enemy from pushing into the hill, right? But if you're spawning in Warehouse, then you want to get pushed up and you want to get kills in this range. So this really is a battle of not only who can gain position of P3, but who can push out just a little bit farther to keep the enemy on their heels. So that's really what you were looking like there. Now, as this rotates here from P3 to P4, you can see that Chicago no longer has those back spawns. So since you don't have those spawns, it's super imperative that you can either contest or get a lot of points inside of P4, because if you don't have spawns as it rotates back to P5, then you're really going to be in trouble after those 2 hills. However, somebody snuck through. I couldn't see exactly who it was. I was talking on the mini-map, but somebody snuck through and now they're in position again. So with 15 seconds remaining, you don't even really want to push P4 right here. Go ahead, give up the last 15 seconds, get your crosses mid-map, have somebody back in hill so that as it's about to rotate back to P5, you guys can max out these points. So if you're talking about where the match is at in terms of point-wise, at the end of this hill, if they're able to hold down all 60 seconds here, it could very easily be a 150 to 70 game. And at that point in time, what that does is that allows you to play a little bit slower the rest of the map, right? Say you don't have spawns for P2, then maybe you can go and worry about contesting it and then just set up for P3, right, on the second set of rotations. So having a big lead as it goes back into the second set of rotations, all that really allows you to do is just be set up and pick and choose what you really want to push, because you're not forced to push every single hill. just kind of as I'm watching this, you can see exactly what's going on with Formal. I mean, his aim is just on another level today. Whether it's we've been watching him with the M4, but with SMG, I mean, every time he locks into somebody, he hardly ever misses bullets. Of course, as soon as I'm talking about that, he tries a pretty, like, that was a difficult kill over there by Oil. But either way, we're about to go ahead and rotate back to the second set of rotations, and you can see that they are in the exact same scenario that they were in through the first set of rotations. They want to go ahead and just that same tug of war game, right? Continue to push up. So now they're pushed up to mid-map. So Formal's not going to sit here too long. You're going to see him just like this. You're going to see him push forward, try to push up a little bit more. And if he can push up over, man, his kills. That's a tough kill to get, and he just makes it look so routine. And there you go. Arcides just traded out Mox right there, and now Arcides is pushing up towards train tracks. So that's exactly what this hill is. Push a little bit forward, and a little bit forward, a little bit more than that, until you can push forward and either get on the left side or the right side of P2 and gain those spawns. So now that we are into the second set of rotations, this is the point in time when I love to let you guys just get immersed in the chat, let you hear exactly what they're talking about strategy-wise. So with that, let's go ahead, let's turn up their chat audio and hear exactly what Chicago is talking about.
I got one. Wait for your teammates.
I'm taking back, right?
Oh my god,
Back,
dead.
I'm coming.
Up in the back. There's one shot in the back. Another one deep back.
Right.
I'll just point out real quick that now that they're pushed up on the right-hand side of the map, this is now going to turn into a right-hand versus left-hand side of the map thing, right? So Chicago spawning on the right, if I'm drawing on the minimap, they're spawning here, which is going to cause Florida to spawn over here. So now it's a left versus right, and then a contest on P2.
I spawn front. One back for two in a second. One side, I got two. One shot side, absolutely.
Ooh, I'm a little shocked he didn't get that kill, actually.
Fair's there, one shot. I'm rotating. I'm at hold force in a second. He's at force, okay. I'm coming down.
One shot on new, you can nade him. He's pushing boxes. He's close fence.
Staring at it.
So even though Envoy just lost that gun battle on top of P3, that's not going to hurt them too much because now they can pinch it from both sides. They can get inside the current hard point, and they have spawn set up. So it was just one clutch kill there, and now all of a sudden they're set up and they're ready to go.
Lockers. Oh, lockers, then one from pipes. Pipes on me too.
On you.
Chase me.
Formal was just a little bit late on the flip there. They called it out, but he was just a split second to turn around. That'll happen in a game that's as fast and as action-packed as Call of Duty is.
Maybe pipes. Ramp will shot.
So let me pause this just for a moment, just so you could see exactly what was going on there. Every once in a while, I'd like to just pause the video because that seemed like something that might have been minute, but I do just want to point it out. Formal spawned back here by BDOM, and essentially what he saw is he had two people inside of P3, and they were both focused inside boxes right here. So they were both covering the same thing. So essentially, rather than join them inside of P3, he just went up to this minecart, and now he was just watching their pinch, right? Because if you're Florida and you realize that this is locked down, then a lot of teams will try to push through this lane right here and pinch from behind, and then they can overtake the P3 spawns. So all that Formal was doing, he wasn't providing support inside the hill, but he was holding down their pinch. So just something very minute, something very small, but it's one of those strategies that might be overlooked if you know that you're not really looking for it.
I'm coming new.
Another one forced.
Make sure they can't push. I'm coming. Shot, one more force, right? Yeah, rock. I'm still rock, dead. I have a trophy on him.
Jeez.
I'm going top.
Even when he's stunned, he's just locked on getting those kills. It's super impressive to watch.
I'm looking dirt ramp. D-force. Nade you. Dirt ramp, and you. One shot from bathroom, Caesar. Rock on me. Oil. Oil, Havoc, damn it.
Green dead.
Havoc, oil.
I'm not really sure how he stayed alive that long. Remember that one challenge where like you had to get, I think it was like Call of Duty 4. You had to get like one bullet like 4 or 5 times in order to get the challenge. I felt like that's what I was watching right there.
Look for me right.
I'm coming Pearson.
Hitting you, Farrell. They spawn you.
I'm looking at you to mid.
Half
wall. 2 from you. One more half wall.
So real quick, if I'm just looking at the score, even though they're up by like 90 points, this is going to end up being a much closer game. Just kind of as I'm watching the flow of the map and where spawns are and where positioning's at, they don't have spawns for P5. So unless they can break it, my guess would be at least 30 or 40 points are going to end up going towards Florida here. So this could be a 212-150, 212-160 game at the end of P5.
Third hard point, Pierce. Third hard point, Caesar. And go, Caesar. Three boxes. Boxes, lots of them. Holy shit.
That's a big loss right there. So if Florida was able, so let me go ahead. Let me point that out real quick. I know things have flipped, and this happens very quickly, but when Chicago was pushing through this left-hand side back to P5 and Formal went mid, these are massive kills right here. Because if he gets these kills, essentially what it does is it locks down Florida's progression into P5. So if he would have been able to get those kills, then those that were pushing this way, then Chicago would have been able to overtake P5. But just that one simple loss is enough for them not to be able to gain rotations in hill time. I'll also point out real quick that there could be a little bit of connection that goes into this, right? Formal looks like he's playing on land. Like, all of his bullets are hitting. He's not really insta-death or anything like that. So, could be a little bit of connection also, but he is absolutely going off. Nice little job there by Chicago of pushing through and getting that last 15 seconds. Essentially, that last 15 seconds is a 30-point swing, right? So 15 seconds, rather than being like 210 to 160, now it's 230 to 140. So it doesn't seem like much, but that's a big swing when you're talking about plus minus per hill. Now there's 44 seconds left on the current hardpoint. They only need 15 to win. So their strategy is going to change a little bit. They are going to try to do as much as they can to gain points on this current hardpoint.
Crates, cold weak, one bathroom. For bathroom. He's in that smoke.
25 seconds left. They need 11. They need 9. Those are big kills. There's nothing that Formal could have done there to help.
More crates. He's like rock or something, guys.
So now that they have a 100-point lead, they didn't have to worry so much about trying to flip spawns, because even if they give up 40 points on the next set of rotations, when it comes from P1 to P2, it's not going to hurt them all that much, right? So they didn't really have to worry about it too much. They only need 5 more seconds. So if they can just get one set of team kills, then they'll probably be able to get in and get those 5 points.
Oh my god, shit on the bed.
Jeez, oh man.
I'm playing for me in the back, guys. Every back up.
What's that, 4 in a row? 5 in a row, 6 in a row. I mean, my goodness. You don't necessarily always see stuff like that. It looks like he had a score that was over 7,000. We'll see the scoreboard in just a moment. But that last set, I mean, Formal got a 6 spree to get into the hard point. Think about it. If he only gets one of those, they probably don't overtake, and they're probably going to lose that next 40 seconds or so. 7,500 score. He ended up with 45 kills and 20. He also led his team in the time inside the hard point. That is just nasty. And look down there. I think that's Pristini. Yeah. Wow. Pristini with 50 also. Dang. There's some people slaying out in this lobby. Man, I love to see it. Envoy, don't overlook Envoy. He dropped 37. Everybody really had a really good game. A ton of interactions here. That was a fun one to watch, even though the final score wasn't all that close somehow. Super crazy. But if you're new around here, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a video every single day breaking down a scrim like this, so you guys have a little bit of an idea of what's going on in the CDL. If you have any comments whatsoever, put them down below. I love the interactions, and I get back to you. So make sure you leave a comment. Leave a like before you head on your way, and thank you guys so much for all of the support recently. We'll catch you in tomorrow's upload.